Rigging is like adding in a skeleton for all the characters in the film so that they're able to move when we hand over the animation.
Animation is essentially taking an inanimate rig or maquette, which Malcolm and his team provides us with, and posing that over a span of time so that those poses, when played back at 24 frames per second, creates life as such, or creates movement and has a performance in a character.
The first step pretty much starts off with like an animation and rigging brief, where the two departments will sit together and sort of see what the characters need to be able to do.
When we get started, we work from a storyboard animatic, which the directors have made, and that informs a lot of the performance already. We'll get briefed by the directors on what a shot will need in terms of performance. How we prepare for that is we shoot video reference of ourselves acting the thing out, which can be a lot of fun. I think for some of us that are introverts, it's a little bit more difficult, but that's the first step to kind of get an idea for the directors of what we're going to do with the shot in terms of acting and performance.
Just then, the girl came by again.
From there, we move it into the software and we start blocking it.
Zog is quite a comedic character, and he also is quite cartoony, so his rig had to be very flexible and had to really support all the poses we came up in the board that we needed to tell the story or tell a joke. And so his rig was really advanced. Zorg starts as a tiny dragon, and so do his classmates, and are full grown at the end of the story. So that was a technical challenge.
The fact that the dragons in this film have to go from walking on all fours to upright. There's different age, there's 5 different ages that they go through as they grow up. They fly, so they've got wings, they've got tails. So it's definitely some of the most complex animation that we've had to do.
In this film, we actually separated our limbs apart from the geometry so that in animation they had free reign of being able to put those limbs almost anywhere they wanted on the characters.
We figured out quite elegant solutions. Once we had Zog sort of sorted out, they were able to sort of use the same system that they built for Zog and sort of bring that across to the other dragons. And it allowed everything to just be much more easy to use for the animators.
Zog is such a character-driven film, and so a lot of the humor and the storytelling comes out of the performance of the characters. The animators just did an incredible job. They shot references, they pitched their own ideas, they staged whole sequences. It's very, very fascinating when you watch the reference they shot and how much of that made it into the actual film.
What we see as animators is kind of quite an ugly grayscale version of the film. And while we're doing that, there are people working on texturing, there are people working on the rigging with us in animation, there are people working on lighting and so on. And so for us, it's a nice surprise at the end of the film when all of that gets applied to our animation and it pluses the performance of our animation.